Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. I'm Shamela Pula and here's what we have in the bulletin.
St. Mary farmers aim rapid recovery after Hurricane Melissa. Family demands answers after toddler's death at Spanish Town Hospital. And later in sports, JFF begins search for new Reggae Boys coach after McLaren resigns.
Now the details. Now we begin with news just in. There is an active shootout along the Mandela highway near Caymanas between police and gunmen. Persons are being advised to take alternative routes. And of course, we will have more on this developing story in subsequent newscasts. Now, the story of farmers trying to rebuild after the devastation of Hurricane Melissa in St. Mary. Banana growers who were also hit say they can recover in as little as 4 months, but with the right help. Krista Campbell reports.
After a storm, it always comes back very fast. Yeah, that has been my experience with the number of storms that I've been through.
The parish of St. Mary is fondly referred to as Banana Country. But if scenes from Hurricane Melissa are anything to go by, there's very little of that crop left across the parish. Farmers say their days since the disaster have been spent literally picking up the salvageable pieces of their livelihood.
Well, burial, we had a lot of ready fruits. So there was a lot on the ground for weeks. But with this one, after burial, we had a drought, a terrible drought. So nothing was shooting. And just as the drought break, they started to shoot some really big bunch. And there comes Melissa. So if it's not ripening on the ground, or some you can salvage some, they are very young.
At another farm in the parish, about 6 acres of crops flattened.
We lost all planting crop, and plus coconut and a little banana.
But Councillor for the Belfield Division, Levan Freeman, who's also a farmer, says that things can rebound in a few months with the right support.
Even as we speak, almost every afternoon we still get rain. And you might be aware that it's sunlight and rain that makes the crop grow. But there are other inputs such as fertilizer, seedlings, spraying material that is required. And as we speak, I am aware that the farmers are struggling. They need assistance to help push their production.
We are trying to mold some roots and to replant some because some of the trees break. So we have to chop those back and mold the suckers and, try to fix it back up so it can come back as quick as possible.
Krista Campbell, TVJ News.
As communities across the country continue to rebuild after Hurricane Melissa, many residents remain without homes and are still relying on emergency shelters. But concerns are growing about the conditions inside those facilities. Alia Bryant reports.
Speaking at a St. Thomas Municipal Corporation meeting, acting shelter manager and member of the St. Thomas Parish Development Committee, Mrs. Pansy Murphy, is raising concerns over poor bedding conditions at the shelters.
I would want to recommend for the centers to have roll mattresses or blow-up beds. Because when we get persons, especially persons that have stroke and they come in and they can hardly do anything for themselves. It is so hard to get them on the top of 4 benches within a wall to prevent them from maybe fall off or something. It is hard to put persons like those on a tough pieces of board. Even the babies, when they come in, they have to go indoors.
In the meantime, Councillor of Portmorant Division for the parish, Dinsdale Smith, says he's concerned about the infrastructures being used as shelters and its ability to withstand natural disasters.
And I'm telling you that the shelters that are in my division if we had a Cat 5, the shelters would need shelters. So I'd like to put a proposal that, we try to get some, not bomb shelter, but hurricane shelter, real shelter constructed that is all concrete like this room here. Where we know that if we have a Cat 5, we're not fretting about the roof.
Right now, I don't even know metal roof we use for shelter. Because we recognize them are storm where we are coming right now and live on concrete wall. The days when we say the biggest star can be our Cat 5, we just recognize something that scientists have to check. What? This puss, this our big cat. What size was it? What magnitude? It is when we go Westmoreland there say concrete wall totally destroyed. So we have to really examine how we're going in the future, how we deal with this.
Aliyah Bryant, TVJ News.
In St. Anne, councillors are frustrated with the slow pace of relief and recovery efforts in the parish. They also say the funds allocated to help those affected are insufficient. Details in this report.
Along the normally bustling coastline in St. Anne, stretches of beach now lie unrecognizable, stripped of sand, littered with uprooted trees, and broken boats pushed ashore like discarded toys. In the town centre, churches that once anchored communities stand wounded, and in Brownstown, the damage is unmistakable. What used to be vibrant business corridors are now missing entire walls. In the hills, homes lie wide open to the sky. This is the new reality of St. Anne. But at the recently held Municipal Corporation meeting, councillors from across the parish delivered emotional accounts of what they believe is a slow response to the disaster in the parish.
I heard you said from your docket, Mr. Chair, that more care packages will be coming. However, sir, when is the issue, Mr. Chair? Until it comes, what shall the people do? I, as a councillor, Mr. Chair, have to be on social media begging people abroad and people abroad on a daily basis, Mr. Chair. Baby don't have no roof for Brownstone. Some on the tree with tarpaulin in Brownstone. No food and wet, no nice, Mr. Chair. So with speed, sir, help out Brownstone.
Councillor Cadian Harty claims the municipal corporation has released 250,000 Jamaican dollars so far, a sum she describes as painfully inadequate. The responsibility, she says, is now left on the councillors to provide potable water to residents. Ms. Harty is calling on the NWC to stop relying solely on the Jamaica Public Service powered systems for water supply, warning that a public health crisis is looming.
There are so many other options out there, Chairman, in 2025 that the NWC, as an executive agency, can explore. What we are experiencing in my division is quite frankly unacceptable. And I am asking for some level of speed and alacrity with dealing with our well in Claremont because my residents are deprived of water.
Michael Belnavis is chairman of the St. Anne Municipal Corporation.
We're looking to see how is it that we can get some assistance for repair of some of those roofs and so on. So yes, Brownstone will be taken care of by the Municipal Corporation, by extension, the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, and other agencies necessary. And if we can get some generators and tarpaulins up there, to be great. I can only ask that if you're in a position to assist us at the Municipal Corporation, drop by your donations.
Deidre Thomas, TVJ News.
A St. Catherine family is seeking answers following the sudden death of their one-year-old daughter at Spanish Town Hospital. The parents say more could have been done to save her. Antonia Atkinson reports.
A candlelight celebration. That's how the family of little Nalani Henry chose to honor her life, even as they search for answers about her death. The bright personality and playful spirit of the one-year-old is now only a memory for her grieving relatives. Nalani, who lived with sickle cell disease, was admitted to the Spanish Town Hospital on Saturday, November 8, after developing a fever and other mild symptoms. Her family says she was alert and responsive on arrival. But hours after being admitted, they noticed a disturbing change when they checked on her.
I want justice to my daughter because I carry my daughter to the hospital.
When she them admit her. So when you tell them admit her, them give her one next medication. So when them give her next medication, I lie down and something, and I lie down. Then I get up and someone, I only something for her auntie, she get the drip good. So she get the drip good and something. Then after I say she get up, and then after, because I feel fever come on for her. Feel fever come on for her, then it go away and then it come back. And then after, I say she come off from my foot and jump off and start screaming and her foot go down weak.
The mother suggested Nalani had a seizure.
I want help. The doctor said me to talk to them and tell them what is the problem. And I tell them what is the problem. Then after we sit down and then after them I give back one next antibiotic after the medicine. And then we get there and so them I take her temperature and then after they say like oh she now the doctor taking medicine from me and then after she squeeze her nose so she taking medicine and some she need that take it. She have so that's about it and then she spit out so.
By Sunday morning, their worst fears were confirmed. Nalani was pronounced dead. Additional concerns also emerged about the child's care. Her aunt says efforts to transfer her to the Bustamante Hospital for Children were met with difficulty.
Don't have a problem. Yes, we could get the baby and move the baby. Everything what them do right after the baby, when him see the baby mouth a clap, everything we ask them for, them a give a be excuse.
As questions mounted, the family sought clarity from the hospital. But the child's grandmother says a meeting with the officials November 17 left them even more frustrated as the hospital did not provide a clear explanation of what happened.
They are not sure what killed the baby. So I asked, what were you treating the baby for? No answer. Right? So they said, when they asked if we are going to do a private postmortem, I told her, yes, we are going to do an autopsy on the baby. So she said to me, when we do the autopsy, we will find out what is the cause of death. So to me, no, they don't know what the baby died from.
Anthony Atkinson, TVJ News.
And of course, TVJ News reached out to the Spanish Town Hospital who provided us with this response.
Once again, we extend our sincerest condolences to the families. So there is a process as it relates to patients who die at a certain time at the hospital. And so, yes, there was a meeting held with our senior medical officer and along with other members of the team that was held on Monday. And so the process would have been outlined. So for the public hospital, any patients who are seen in our accident and emergency for less than 24 hours, in most cases, the police, the relatives will be asked to report the matter to the police. And in this case, the police has no interest in the case. And because the patient would have died less than 24 hours, and so the hospital wouldn't be able to prepare a medical cause of death certificate. And as a consequence of that, a postmortem would be required. And so the hospital would not be in a position to do that postmortem.
To other news, major crimes are down in St. James. The current figure now stands at 46, a decrease of 70 incidents compared to the same period last year.
But according to our figures, we are at 46 officially, and we are doing what we can to ensure that we put the fight out for the rest of the year to ensure that we still meet our target or way below our set target. In the initial stages of the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, we had some reports of looting, we responded to quickly. And since then, we have not had any reports of major looting.
It's time for a break. Stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. It's now time for the Business Minute.
Kingston Wharves is reporting net profits attributable to stockholders of $2.5 billion or $1.75 per share on revenues of $9 billion during the 9-month period which ended on September 30. These sums were $414 million and $1.6 billion more when compared to the corresponding period of the previous year. The chairman's statement also indicated that the Terminal Operations Division generated revenues of $7.3 billion during the 9-month period under review, $1.7 billion more than the amount raked in during the same period of the previous year. Further afield, an international group of health experts is taking aim at the food business. 43 of them published a scathing report on what they call ultra-processed foods in the medical journal The Lancet. It claims those foods contribute to obesity, chronic health conditions, and premature death. The authors also blame food producers for putting profits ahead of health. The study calls for governments to regulate the foods with warning labels, taxation, and advertising restrictions. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Carrie Simpson.
Thank you, Carrie. And here's a preview of what's coming up in Wednesday's Health Report. In this evening's Health Report, we'll look at major depression.
The things that you do, the sleep hygiene, making sure that you get your 6 to 8 hours sleep 80% of the time. So you do things to make sure that to help yourself to sleep properly. And exercise. Exercise helps you to secrete good chemicals in the brain and reorder the depression. And also, it's a physical problem of the brain. It damages the brain. The chemicals, the stress chemicals damages the brain. So medication is also important.
That's the Health Report in Primetime News at 7. And now for today's healthy living tip. Get enough sleep. Avoid alcohol and drugs. Join a support group. Maintain a healthy diet and exercise. It's now time for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, St. Kitts and Nevis has become the first Caribbean country to join the 100 by 100 campaign, a global push for 100 islands to transition to 100% renewable energy. With support from the European Union, the government is now working with the Greening the Islands Foundation to develop a national energy transition roadmap. The move follows an EU-led energy study tour and forms part of the EU's Global Gateway agenda aimed at boosting investment in grid upgrades, interconnection, and geothermal development across the Caribbean. And on the international scene, NATO scrambled fighter jets in Poland and Romania as Russia launched a major overnight assault on Ukraine, killing at least 19 people and injuring dozens. Romania says a Russian drone briefly entered its airspace during the strikes, which heavily hit the western city of Ternopil. The attack involved more than 400 drones and dozens of missiles, while Russia claims it shot down US-made missiles fired by Ukraine. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Aliyah Bryant.
Thanks, Alia. We take another break. Sports is next.